This is the shocking case of Daniel Harris, a devoted husband on the outside, hiding a secret life that would lead to betrayal, rage, and murder. When his wife, Emily Harris, uncovered his hidden relationship with his lifelong best friend, Mark Evans, it set off a chain of events that ended in a shallow grave and a community in disbelief. This isn't just another affair, it's a true story of love, lies, and lethal revenge that tore apart a seemingly perfect family. Stay tuned as we take you inside every twist and turn of this chilling case. And if you enjoy true crime stories like this, make sure to support this channel by hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications so you never miss an upload. Stay active because the next case might be even darker. In the quiet suburb of Maplewood, Daniel and Emily Harris were seen as the perfect couple. Their neighbors often described them as the kind of people who had it all. Married for 12 years, they had 2 children, a beautiful home on a tree-lined street, and an image of stability that inspired admiration. Daniel worked as an accountant for a mid-sized firm, known for his attention to detail and calm demeanor. Emily was a part-time schoolteacher, warm and approachable, often volunteering for school events and community projects. They attended Sunday services together, hosted dinner parties, and were regular faces at neighborhood gatherings. The picture was one of harmony, the type of life people imagined when they thought of long-term commitment and shared dreams. Daniel's closest friend, Mark Evans, had been in his life since high school. Mark was charismatic, athletic, and seemingly without a care in the world. He was single and often joked that he lived vicariously through Daniel's family life. To the community, their friendship was a testament to loyalty and trust. Mark helped Daniel with home repairs, joined family barbecues, and was so familiar to the Harris children that they called him Uncle Mark. His presence felt natural, and no one questioned how much time he spent around the Harris household. Yet, subtle changes began to creep in, the kind most people would overlook, but that Emily couldn't ignore. Daniel started working late more often, coming home after the kids were asleep. There were unexplained weekends away, small lies that didn't fit his usual honesty. She noticed Mark's car parked in unusual spots, sometimes not far from where Daniel claimed to be working. At first, she pushed away her doubts, telling herself it was nothing more than overthinking. But deep down, a faint unease had begun to take root, and it would only grow darker with time. Emily's unease turned into suspicion the night she found Daniel's phone left on the kitchen counter, buzzing with incoming notifications. She wasn't the type to pry, but the preview of a message caught her eye. Short phrases filled with intimacy and affection, the kind she hadn't seen from Daniel in years. Curiosity overpowered her hesitation, and she scrolled through the conversation. What she read unsettled her. The language was deeply personal but strangely vague, lacking any names. At first, she assumed the messages came from another woman. That thought alone felt like a knife, but the truth would cut even deeper. A few days later, an unusual errand led Emily past an empty parking lot on the edge of town. Daniel's car was there, parked in the far corner. The sight was strange enough to make her stop and watch from a distance. A figure approached the car. Mark. Emily's heart raced as she pieced together what might be happening, though she didn't want to believe it. Her doubts ended the moment she saw them together, their closeness impossible to misinterpret. The betrayal was immediate and overwhelming, like a sudden drop into icy water. Emily left before either of them noticed her. That night, she moved through the house in a haze, replaying the scene over and over in her mind. It wasn't just an affair, it was with the man Daniel had called his best friend, a man she had welcomed into their home for years. The secrecy, the late nights, the unexplained absences, they all made sense now. But knowing the truth didn't bring her clarity. It brought confusion, anger, and a hollow ache. She said nothing to either of them. Instead, she began watching, waiting, and quietly taking note of every sign that the man she married was no longer hers. The days that followed were thick with unspoken tension. Emily no longer looked at Daniel the same way, but she kept her distance, masking her emotions behind polite smiles and short conversations. Daniel, for his part, seemed increasingly distracted. His phone was never out of reach, his laptop always locked, and his eyes carried a faraway look as if his mind was elsewhere. Mark's visits became less frequent, but when he did stop by, Emily could feel the electricity between him and Daniel's subtle glances, quick smiles, and an ease in each other's company that now felt like a taunt. The home, once warm and filled with family chatter, grew colder, its silence heavy with things unsaid. One afternoon, while tidying Daniel's desk, Emily stumbled upon an envelope hidden beneath a stack of old bills. Inside were 2 printed plane tickets. They were booked for a city several states away, leaving in just under 2 weeks. Her stomach tightened as she read the names: Daniel Harris and Mark Evans. There was no ambiguity in what she saw. This was a plan for a future without her, without their children, without the life they had built together. In that moment, something inside her shifted. The betrayal was no longer a quiet wound she could carry. It was a consuming fire that spread with every thought of them running away together. The man she had trusted above all others had not only been unfaithful, but was preparing to abandon everything without a word. Her humiliation deepened knowing that Mark, the man she had once welcomed like family, was part of it all. Emily's anger hardened into resolve. She didn't cry, she didn't plead, she simply began to think of ways to ensure Daniel never had the chance to leave with the man he had chosen over her. The night she chose her course of action, the weather seemed to echo her mood. Rain fell steadily, drumming against the windows, the kind of night where most people sought comfort indoors. Emily spent the day preparing as if nothing were wrong. Going through her usual routine with calculated calm, she made Daniel's favorite dinner, roast chicken with garlic potatoes, and set the table as she always did, giving no hint of the storm brewing inside her. When Daniel walked through the door, shaking the rain from his coat, she greeted him with a faint smile, offering a glass of wine before leading him to the dining room. Throughout the meal, she studied him. He laughed softly at his own stories, oblivious to the fact that she knew everything. When the moment felt right, Emily excused herself to the kitchen, quietly opening the drawer where she had placed a heavy marble rolling pin earlier that day. Her grip tightened as she returned to the table. Without warning, she stepped behind him and brought it down with a force driven by months of betrayal and hurt. The first blow stunned him, the second dropped him to the floor. She kept going until his body went limp, the wine glass shattered beside him, its contents pooling into the carpet. Her breathing was sharp, but her mind was strangely clear. She dragged his body to the garage, struggling against his weight, her arms trembling from the effort. Opening the trunk of his car, she pushed him inside, shutting it firmly before sliding into the driver's seat. The drive was silent except for the rain on the roof, her headlights cutting through the dark, until she reached a wooded stretch of road. There, in the cold, wet soil, she dug just deep enough to hide what she had done, leaving him to the night. Daniel's disappearance sent ripples through Maplewood. Neighbors who once waved warmly at Emily now approached with concern, asking if there had been any news. Emily played her role flawlessly, telling police that Daniel had never returned, home that night. She spoke softly, kept her expression measured, and even feigned worry when Mark came by to ask questions of his own. In the first week, search parties combed nearby woods and rivers, but no trace of Daniel emerged. His car was found abandoned several miles from home, its doors locked, giving investigators little to work with. 2 weeks later, a break came unexpectedly. A hiker exploring an isolated trail stumbled upon a shallow grave. The disturbed soil and the hint of fabric led authorities to dig, uncovering human remains. Dental records confirmed what everyone feared. It was Daniel. The cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. The burial was hasty, the kind of work done in panic rather than planning. Detectives returned to Emily with new questions, their tone sharper than before. Her timeline of events began to unravel under scrutiny. Forensic testing revealed small traces of Daniel's blood in the trunk of her car. Even more damning were the plane tickets found in Daniel's desk, now marked with Emily's fingerprints. When confronted with the mounting evidence, Emily's composure cracked. She confessed, describing the affair, the betrayal, and the rage that pushed her to kill. The courtroom sat in stunned silence as the details emerged. It wasn't just a crime of passion, it was a crime born from humiliation, from the knowledge that her husband had chosen his best friend over her. Emily was sentenced to life in prison, leaving Maplewood to grapple with the grim truth that even the most perfect-looking lives can hide the darkest secrets.